The new Velma show sucks, and here's why. And how can you as a writer or a creator or whoever you are make anything better than Velma? I'm sure y'all have seen the backlash and the hate that the Velma show is getting, and I promise you, it is not because all the haters are misogynistic trolls who hate women, who hate minorities. Some of them, maybe. I don't speak for all of them. Me? Definitely not. I'm definitely not sexist. I definitely do not. Okay, so if you watch the show, I think the reason for all the hate is pretty obvious. The main character, Velma, is a woman. No, I'm kidding. But in general, Velma's just not a likable person. Velma brings her race into things way more than any real human being ever actually would. And it's insufferable.
Normally, origin stories are about tall, handsome guys struggling with the burden of being handed even more power. And if they are about girls, it's usually like, hey, what made this hot chick go crazy? It's Velma from school. You cheat off me in Spanish because you think I'm Mexican.
I know. I'm caliente, as this one's people would say.
Wow, blonde-haired people have bad days too.
What, are you scared of having feelings for a girl?
Velma, please. I have 2 moms.
Yeah.
You mean I'm not just a diversity hire for the company photo shoot?
Huh? Your choices on the lady confession form are revenge, jealousy, or you know how we get?
Still, if I can separate reality dating shows' exploitation of women from my obsessive need to watch them, I can separate Gigi from Norvin.
She's not proud of it, it seems. It's always, I am in this lesser position because of my race and how much you people hate. Now, I'm not trying to discount the life experiences of Mindy Kaling or what she's gone through and why she's writing this way, because I'm sure she's had her own racism and sexism, you know, situations. But Velma's character, it just doesn't seem like she's actually gone through any of the things that she's complaining about, so it doesn't seem genuine. Furthermore, it seems like if Velma was a real person, she wouldn't be liked much anyway. Velma is self-proclaimed unattractive.
Our whole lives, girls are told by guys there's a right way to be hot, and I'm not it.
And I mean, it's a cartoon character. How hot can they be? And Velma is annoyingly arrogant, racist.
I mean, playing God, removing brains, that's some white people shit. Hey, no offense, but can we just let the actual doctor explain? Just being a white guy with a clipboard doesn't cut it anymore.
And sometimes sexist too, without even realizing it. Just misogynistic, if you would.
God, where is that candy man? I mean, candy person. It could be anybody, even though we both definitely know it's a man.
Fred literally can't feed himself.
Oh, you just cut the food and put it on the, what's the dumb thing called? A dingle hopper! Cutties. Mother, cutties.
These are the skills you need to survive. When a massive burly man springs up and attacks you.
Notice she said when you get attacked, not if.
Ugh, this is exactly the problem with this list. Men make everything about them and what they want.
It's an exercise in slut-shaming. In fact, your definition of womanhood is even more restrictive than ours.
I will say, Fred's character is written to be hated, so realistically, Velma is on the right side. Like, if there was a person in real life, and you're looking at Fred, and you're saying, that guy's kind of a douchebag, he's just some rich, snobby guy, then yeah, maybe more people would be like, Velma, you're right. But Fred's character is only written that way so that the writers and the show can take the piss out of men, and especially rich white men. And the reason they do that is because they want to bring Velma up, which is kind of stupid, right? It's like a mid-white girl hanging out with ugly white girls so that she looks relatively more attractive. And even that's less noticeable than what Velma is doing. And to top it off, Velma's character can't be wrong. Or, you know, she can be wrong. She can have some sort of sense of, I maybe did this wrong. But anytime that something doesn't go her way, or anytime that she causes a problem, it's either resolved or somebody offends her so much that she doesn't actually learn the lesson that is supposed to be learned.
It's just that after yesterday, I have no clue how to be a woman in a way that doesn't judge other women.
So you picked monster.
How dare you call any woman a monster, you monster?
This is all Daphne's fault. So Daphne's obsession with Gigi is why we're gonna die here sitting in puddles of our own filth. Daphne's fault, Norville.
Velma's fault.
And in this show, Velma is not even a good detective. At least not yet. I've only watched 4 or 5 episodes, and there's such little detective work that it doesn't feel like a mystery show. Here's what Velma says about Fred being arrested.
Fred's a rich white guy with a tiny dong. He did it.
Keep in mind, Velma provides no evidence besides that Fred is a white male. Now, I will say, maybe white men being wrongfully imprisoned will balance out the disproportionate amount of black men who have been wrongfully imprisoned.
Yeah, but isn't it a little comforting to see a rich white guy get wrongly convicted for once?
That's what I'm saying.
But doing that in a show doesn't help. Now, you've probably heard it all, from Fred needing his mom to cut his food, or Norville being Norville and not Shaggy. But I don't really care about that, because there are certain characters in every single TV show that are just the butt of every joke, or of certain jokes. The problem I have with Velma doing this is that it's so obviously just because they're men, and they deserve to be hated because they're men, that they are the butt of the jokes. Additionally, they couldn't make Norville black and then also make him Shaggy, because they'd come across as racist. Because Shaggy's a pothead who talks to dogs and eats dog treats. And he's stereotypically not smart. If you make a black character that has all those traits, it seems more racist than hating white men.
Thank you, but now that the truth is out, Velma and Norville can look after their daughter themselves.
Like hell we can. I mean, of course. How hard can watching it be, right, Norville? Norville?
And then another reason to hate the show, it doesn't live up to the purposes that it set out for itself. The plot is extremely weak, and Scooby-Doo viewers who are going into the show thinking, this is Velma's origin story.
My name is Velma Dinkley, and this is my origin story.
They don't get that. It's not the Velma that we know from the show. The show is just basically a high school drama. And a high school drama from the perspective of an unattractive female minority. And finally, the solution. Here's the first problem that Velma has and how to fix it. Velma's race and gender are used for sympathy way too much. And Velma's character is nothing but flaws. If you have a character that's nothing but flaws and you're trying to use certain unchangeable characteristics to prop them up, that's never a good standard to start at. I've already given some reasons as to why her character is hateable, but how do you as a writer fix this problem yourself? Maybe you want a character that has a certain race, but you don't want their race to be something that everyone rolls their eyes at. Here's a solution. Only put male white characters in your show. You might be surprised to hear, but the solution is not to keep race and gender out of your character's mouth. Race and gender can be used to build up a character and their backstory and their heritage and everything in a good way, unlike what Velma does. To prove this, we're gonna enlist the help of another South Asian female character who's the main character of her show. And that character is Anne Boonchoi from the show Amphibia. So Anne is the main protagonist of the show, and you might notice a few similarities between Anne and Velma. In fact, Anne is Thai, or from Thailand, which means both characters are considered South Asian. Despite that, I don't think I've heard a single critique for Velma that applies to Anne. To start off, Anne's character is indeed flawed, but she's not just flaws, and the flaws that she has actually play into major parts of the story and can sometimes get all of the main characters in trouble. But she has enough redeeming qualities to balance out her flawed traits. For example, she has a problem listening to authority.
I think it's best you stay put.
But...
No buts!
Ugh, adults are all the same. Curfews, rules, old. No thanks. I'd rather go to the lake.
What? But Hop Up said,
Sprig, you want to know the best thing about friendship? When you got your friend by your side, anything is possible. Know what this smells like?
A key that's been in an old man's pocket?
Freedom!
That was my next guess!
But Anne is also extremely loyal, to the point where she sides against her own species.
Sasha, please! There has to be another way!
Oh. Seize the traitor, Hoppadiah Planter!
No! Get your hands off me!
Kids, no!
Hey, that's mine!
Stay back! Anne, what are you doing? Are you really gonna risk your life for these talking frogs? We don't even belong here. Don't you want to get back home? See your family? Yeah, but then put your sword down now. End of discussion. There we go. That's my girl. There. Now that wasn't so hard, was it? What the heck?
For someone who's Anne's best friend, you sure don't know her very well. She's brave, she's smart, and most of all, she's not gonna be pushed around by a bully like you.
I think I've had enough of you, squeaky toy. Anne, what are you doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. Standing up to you!
Anne is also quick to recognize her own mistakes.
What did you do?
What's up with canes? Who even needs them these days, am I right?
Ow. I'm really sorry, Hop Pop. I was goofing around and I broke your favorite cane.
You what?
I know. I'll show myself out.
We'll come visit you, Anne. We promise.
Whereas Velma is a character who isn't wrong. Like I've said, she has these situations where maybe she's about to learn, but ultimately she never does. And being a female isn't something that gets in the way of her accomplishing her goals. And her being a female isn't something that she brings up as a point of reference as to why she hasn't accomplished her goals. There's none of this, because men do this, I am like this. It's almost like her character being a girl doesn't actually matter to the entire plot of the show. Obviously, she talks and acts and does girl things, but what I mean is if you wrote the characters as men or boys, it wouldn't change the foundational reasons and purposes and idea of the show. With Velma, a large part of her character and what feeds into the plot of the story is based on her being a woman. And it's not bad at all, except when you make a production out of it. And then everyone's rolling their eyes because they don't actually care. So we know Velma's Indian from the start of the show, but as we grow into knowing Anne in Amphibia, we learn that she's Thai, because she does tell us, but her character and her character traits and her heritage and her family life play into how she acts.
You got it, HP.
Wow, where'd you learn to cut like that?
You know, my parents actually owned a Thai restaurant back home. Ah, whoops, hold on. I used to work there all the time and help out. Nope, they're doing okay without me. My parents ran a restaurant back home, so I know what I'm talking about.
Well, if your parents are anything like you, I'm sure their restaurant was terrible.
Oh yeah? We'll tell you what then. Why don't you come back in, I don't know, 2 days or something, and we'll have completely turned this place around.
I beg your pardon, what?
What are you all looking at?
Stumpy's changed overnight.
Wow, look over there.
It's so exotic.
Oh my goodness.
Swadee ka, and welcome to Stumpy's, Wyrtwood's first frog Thai fusion restaurant.
I don't think this thing's getting back up.
So, Duckweed, guess you got a bad review to write, huh?
Bad? Bad? That was incredible! A food that tries to eat you? The irony! The ecstasy! I simply must tell everyone! To the message board!
You go, girl!
She lives in my basement!
Stumpy, I'm sorry about all this. I took things way too far.
No way, Anne. This whole thing was a big success. You even convinced this old grump to actually care. If your parents could see this, I'm sure they'd be proud.
So Anne's writers use her heritage to build up her character. She isn't ever crying about what somebody else's race got them or what her race and gender have degraded her from getting. The show gives us an extremely positive view of Thai culture, and I actually bought Thai food for the first time because of this show. In Velma, it seems like she's just Indian for the sake of being Indian. Her dad is a lawyer, but her Indian heritage doesn't actually play into her character at all. She seems more American than anything. Is this show afraid of cultural appropriation, or is it refraining from Indian stereotypes so that haters, like actual racist haters, don't, pick up on it and start mocking it? My point here is that Anne Boon Choi, her character is more interesting because she has a Thai background and she's not afraid to express it. Velma, it seems like, is. Here are some bullet points to sum up the solutions to the mistakes that Velma makes. 1. Don't build up your ethnic characters by tearing down non-ethnic characters just because they're non-ethnic. 2. Use your character's heritage and ethnicity to build them up with skills, with certain characteristics, how they talk or how they process things. For example, a Japanese person might tend to be a lot more intense than, say, an American person. Or a Russian person might be a lot better physically in the cold than somebody from Brazil. 3. Make your gendered characters normal. The gender of your character should be purposeful beyond the fact that they are a female. Once you create this sort of social justice need for female lead characters, you start getting male characters who are cardboard boxes with boobs. If the only purpose of your character being a female is because you need more female representation, then rewrite the character. Story is the most important thing to making your show, or whatever you're writing, making it interesting. Story is more important than the fact that you have another female character. All that to say, go watch Amphibia, stop watching Velma.